Hello again, Year 10. Following on from our most recent lesson about smart and modern materials and technical textiles, we're going to be looking at composites. So by the end of this session, you should hopefully have revised and revisited smart and modern materials, but also learnt about what a composite is and given examples of it. So these are the different learning objectives. So every one of you will hopefully be able to describe a composite material. Most of you will go into more detail looking at the characteristics, so what it can do and therefore what it can be used for, and the various types, and then some of you will hopefully be able to explain the real benefits of using these and the products that they're used for. A composite is when two or more materials or substances are combined and then mixed together so that you get improved properties, just like we have blended fabrics so that we get more properties from those. This is the sort of more hard-wearing materials, plastics and what have you, that have, extra properties by being mixed together. So separately to this YouTube video, please go through the PowerPoint on Show My Homework and watch this video clip. So just like a modern material, composites are engineered in order to improve the properties. And there are all kinds of combinations of materials that are used and combined to meet a particular need or purpose. So wood can be reinforced with strips of carbon to help make a wooden bicycle frame. You might have a usual feature, but then you'll have something added to it in order to make it more durable, because it might lack strength. There's all kinds of different materials scientists and engineers are blending and experimenting with in order to create new problem-solving materials. And if you are asked this in the exam, what is the difference between a smart material, a composite and a modern material, then there's this really nice clear video. I think BBC Bite Size is really, really good for our subject. So do use it for any kind of revision, certainly when you get into year 11 for the various exams, but also for any DT homeworks, any home learning tasks I'm setting. BBC Bite Size Design and Technology is really, really good. There are three categories of composites. The first one is fibre-based. Okay, so this is when you mix some kind of material, a resin, which can be like a strong glue, or a concrete with some kind of glass fibres to create fiberglass, or carbon. You can mould really quite tricky shapes, like if you look in the picture here, you've got parts of a car or parts of a motorbike, but at the same time making them very strong, which you can't do with just plastic on its own. So you can see in the table here different types of fibre-based composite, usually nicknamed because of, sort of GRP, CRP because of making their name shorter, what they're made from, and then what they're used for. So I'm sure you've heard of fiberglass, carbon fibre, incredibly strong. So there's lots of really useful composites here to try and make a note of, please. The second category of composites are particle based. So if you can imagine grains, powders, this is the kind of composite made from those. So these are tiny, tiny particles mixed together with larger particles of cement or stones. You get a really, really strong material, great for building large structures. Okay, so this is basically how concrete is made. The last category of composites is sheet-based ones. Okay, so we know, we've been learning about timber this year, that timber has a category called manufactured boards, and in amongst that you've got plywood, which looks like a sort of wafer biscuit. Okay, so you can actually create any of those. If you look at that list there, sheet-based composites, they are the manufactured types of timber. So we've got MDF, which is something you would have used in your projects in year 7. Okay, it's basically wood pulp and a resin, otherwise known as a glue. You've got plywood, which is in the photograph here, and then you've got chipboard used for kitchen units, usually covered in a laminate. Okay, but all of these have been made stronger by being mixed with another material. So looking into carbon fibre in a bit more detail, this is using the method of thermosetting, so you can change the heat, change the material of heat, and it basically creates something that is stronger but lighter, so great for transport, which you don't really want to be too heavy. And other reasons why it's used, here you are, you can see just one of the many aeroplanes. It's made of carbon fibre, and the reason being is it makes it lighter in weight, helping it to fly really well and use less fuel because it's not having to power the engines so much in order to keep it up in the air so high, which at the same time generates less CO2 pollution and actually makes it quieter. So a really good use for carbon fibre, carbon plastic, is that it's lightweight, strong, great for aeroplanes. So here we have a textiles example of a composite where rubber and cotton have been pressed together into a sort of sandwich. So you've got a layer of cotton on the outside, then a layer of rubber, and then you've got another layer of cotton in order to make the coat waterproof but also comfortable. And obviously these are still in use nowadays. They've been around for a good while and they are a lot more comfortable to wear than just something that is like a rain mac. And that's why composites are made, in order to help both materials work together and add extra properties and extra functions. So you get the water resistance but also the comfort here.